All right, I think that's good enough. We got our little lead in there. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Artcasters. I think this is 214. We're getting up there, and we have a familiar face on the show that we haven't seen in a while, and we will get to him in a minute. But as usual, you just kind of go around and introduce ourselves, and if we have anything to promote, we do that. And I do have something to promote, so this is going to be a little even more sales pitchy than I usually get. But so recently I started doing this thing called Amazon merch, and it's basically t-shirts and selling through Amazon and everything. But the way it works is they start you off on this tier system, and the first tier is like 10 shirts, and you have to sell 10 of them, and you can only upload 10 before you move to the next tier. So I'm trying to move some shirts so I can move up, because it's kind of a numbers game. So my goal is to try, hopefully sooner rather than later, get to that 100 tier and then move up from there. So I know Corey was mentioning he was looking at some of the shirts on the bottom of the channel. Don't buy those, because I'm basically selling these shirts without any kind of profit, just so I can get out of these tiers. So I'm just going to show you what I have here real quick.
You guys, wait a minute.
Oh, wait. I even
Scott,
put that thing here. Yeah.
You have absolutely lost your mind. You are selling them at. So these are loss leaders, basically. You're just going to sell these at like no profit.
Well, I mean, there's an end goal here. Like I said, I'm trying to get out of these tiers, so it's going to help me out. I mean, obviously,
yeah. And for people watching, take advantage of this.
Full disclosure: the link that I'm going to give you, there is a link in the description, but it's an affiliate link. So if you buy something, I get a little kickback on that. But that's kind of it. But anyway, so let me go back to the comments here. So anyway, so this is one of them. Nerd alert. So that's one of my designs. Like I said, I'm kind of limited to what I can put up there. This is another one. Reach for the stars. Just remember they're hot. And then this one's perfect for all the artists, entrepreneurs out there. And the other thing is it's black, because black sells the best. I don't have a black one to show you, but it's wake and make, so it'll be white on black. And then kind of my catchphrase that I say all the time: haters hate, creators create. So if you guys have been looking at those shirts and you're like, I don't know, man, 20 bucks plus shipping. Well, if you have Amazon, I think right now they're like, I don't know, what am I selling, like something like $13 or $14.99. Hold on, let me see what I got here. Where is that? Yeah, $13.99, and if you got Prime, it's free shipping. So I will put a link also in the chat here. But yeah, so that's what I have, and no pressure or anything. But you know, I got a couple of, I know I got at least one of Josh's shirts. I got maybe 3 of Kevin's. So just throwing that out there, and I got one of Corey's too. So just kind of guilting you guys. But anyway,
I love it.
Anyway, I'll put the link here.
And I love it. That's a fair price for a shirt. And I do have Amazon Prime, so it looks like I might have to make an order after this is done.
And as I said, I'll have more designs, but right now that's kind of all I got. I've got some other ones, but they're not really anything that would.
But this is one of those scenarios where, like, the second he starts tiering up, like the prices might go up a bit. So take advantage now.
Yeah, they will definitely go up once I tier up. So
anyway, jump on this.
Thanks for bearing with me through that. So what's up with you, Josh?
Oh man, I'm tired after a long week of work, and stoked to do Artcasters. Stoked to be here with my brother from another mother over here, Kevin the Cross. Other than that, just working on this comic, Quarterly Stories, which is my story about faith and mental illness that I handwrite, hand letter, and hand ink. And I should be handing to you very soon, because I'm working on the author page for the first book. And then just need to do the layouts and design and cover and done. So go check it out, quarterlystories.com. Check out my other work at joshuakemble.com. And then check out Scott's Amazon, buy Scott shirts on Amazon.
Yeah, I'm not promoting anything else. That's the main thing I'm trying to do right now. So
how do they reach those shirts, by the way? Is it
there's a link in the description, and I put a link in the chat. So
I love it. Okay.
And like I alluded to earlier, we're bringing back a familiar face. We've got the man himself, the creator of the 100 Days of Making Comics. You guys all know Kevin. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm okay. Yeah.
You got anything to promote?
No. I don't.
You got to get on that merch, son.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I got a band.
Yeah.
Well, if you want band T-shirts, talk to me because I can put some of those up there, and then anyone that wants them, or you can put them up yourself. But
yeah,
I can talk to you about how to do that too.
Oh, right on.
But you don't have to worry about. It's cool thing about that is you don't have to worry about sizes or anything because you just send them an Amazon link. So you don't have to carry it. So even if you bring something to a show, and I'll talk to you if you're interested. And
yeah, for sure.
You'll have to do the same thing I'm doing where you have to actually tier up. But if you've got people coming to the show, just say you want the shirt, here's a link. If you got Prime, it's free shipping. And so, it's, I'm just kind of getting into this now. So there's a lot I have to learn, but yeah.
Right.
What's your band's name? Is it something to do with the apocalyptic end of the world and the clothing you're going to wear during that apocalypse?
It actually does.
Yes.
It's a badass logo. Anyone would want that logo on a tee.
Yeah, it is. It is a phenomenal logo.
Thank you. Yeah, I designed that logo myself. It's so the band is called Black Feathers.
Yes.
And yeah, a little bit to what Josh is talking about. We are a death rock band, which is a lot of people these days are like, what is it, like metal? And I'm like, kinda, sometimes a little bit. So just for younger people out there, death rock is basically right before goth became goth. It's when punk rock got a little darker. So it's like a post-punk branch off the punk rock tree, a dark one, a gothier one. And Black Feathers, we thought the name sounded, well, that sounds real dark and everything. Really what it comes from is the bad guys and Road Warriors who stuff black feathers in their hockey and football pads. So we're named after an accessory on Mad Max movies.
I love it.
But yeah, so I think I see my URL on the screen right now, and
I'm going to put a link to. I was going to put a link to the Black Feathers YouTube channel, but it's pretty long, so people aren't going to type it in because these links aren't clickable.
Yeah, because
I can throw that link in the chat though. Unless do you have a web page or something? That's
I'm going to see right quick. We've got a Bandcamp thing, but I don't know if it's bandcamp.blackfeathers.com or blackfeathers.bandcamp.com. So I'll look real quick. So yes, it's blackfeathers.bandcamp.com.
Okay, let's see if I can type it. I put the link to the YouTube channel. Of course, it's just a bunch of gibberish right now. You can't.
Yeah, it's still relatively newish band, and they don't let you get a custom URL until they make sure that you're not gonna be a jerk on YouTube, I guess. And all that stuff.
What was it now? Black Feathers.
Blackfeathers.bandcamp, bandcamp.com. And I see that somebody in the band changed the title screen without my knowledge. That's a no-no.
Oh, snap.
Yep.
All right, there we go. Did I do that right? You see it on?
Yes.
All right.
There we go. Yeah. So that's mostly what I've been doing as far as creative stuff, aside from some comic things. Timothy Phillips in the chat says, I was a tracker person myself. He's talking about skateboarding. I've always been independent. Tracker always pissed me off when the kingpin broke and I couldn't replace it on the base plate. But, some of my favorite skaters rode for tracker. But anyway.
I love it.
I skateboard a lot.
Yeah.
Working on comics, skateboarding, working on music. yeah, that's what I do. That's what I've been
Love
doing.
it.
Yeah.
All right, so Josh, I mean, you guys kind of, I mean, we were kind of running behind, so I didn't even get a chance. Usually before the show, we catch up a little bit, but I haven't really got a chance to catch up. So I know the topic is kind of returning to freelance, and I know because you had mentioned, Josh, that Mai was kind of doing that too. So vicariously, you're kind of going through that. I don't know. It sounds like you're so busy at work. I don't know if that's something you're pursuing.
Yeah, not
Sounds
at
like
all.
Kevin's pursuing it. I'm trying to. Not that I won't take freelance, because if it comes across my desk, I will, because I need it to survive. But I'm really trying to build up these other things and see if I can, because my goal is hopefully not to have to go back to, working a day job if I can avoid it. So, it's a struggle, but right now, I'm starting to build. That's why I'm doing this whole merch thing and all this other stuff. So.
Mhm.
That's sort of the plan. So I'm kind of going a different route. So I'm gonna kind of let you guys take over, Josh. I don't know if you wanna set it up.
All right. To set it up, Kevin.
Yes.
So
I can tell you why I brought it up.
yeah, I'd love to actually hear.
We were texting. Okay, so financially, God, I can't get in the middle of this damn screen.
Here, we could do this, Kevin.
Oh,
You
no.
go. Oh, I kicked them off.
No, kick me off. Here. No, this is wait.
I think. How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I?
I don't know,
anyway,
Scott.
I'll just keep talking.
I can't figure this thing
Everyone's
out.
probably drawing anyway.
Oh, here it is. All right, there you go, Kevin.
Boom.
Okay, so hey, I'll look over here now. Hello, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming tonight. So anyway, it's been a long, almost 4 years journey. I had a big life thing that took like 2 years to get over. Went to LA, came back to Portland, was kicking a bunch of ass for a minute, and after a lengthy divorce and fighting to kick ass with making some money, go through this divorce and everything like that, I burnt myself out so bad, and I did not want to take any more freelance work. I was tired of it, tired of what I was getting older, and was starting to kind of see like companies like, oh, hey, you're too old. We'll hire someone who's younger and we think is hipper who will work for cheaper. And yeah, it just seemed like everything just dried up real fast and real bad all of a sudden. And yeah, so I'm in this position where I got a raw deal with scheduling with childcare and stuff like that. So I have to do freelance. I have to find ways to make money outside of a Monday through Friday 9 to 5. Essentially, I'm not allowed to, I guess. And I'm not trying to do a sob story here or anything either, but
Yeah.
it's if I want to do that, I have to pay for childcare, which would mean I have to get the job first to pay for childcare, which means I would never see my kid, and I'd just be paying for childcare. So I've had to take a lot of odd jobs, and I did step away from art for a while. Not necessarily like working on my own comics, but working on I don't know how much I want to give away, but yeah, just taking odd jobs and working on my comics. Timothy Phillips says, come to Patreon. I do have a Patreon, which I have sorely neglected in my burnout and stuff like that. I went through some, I guess, an existential crisis of, do I even want to be an artist anymore?
Yeah.
That hit me pretty hard. And so, yeah, now I have like 3 odd jobs that I can kind of do when I don't have my kid that aren't art, which I did for a while, and that was cool because I needed a break. But it also made me realize that now this is what I want to do. And I neglected YouTube, which kind of sucks because it was starting to make money. And I was just like, who cares? No one. And I don't even right now. So it took me a good year, almost 2019 to I think I put out 2 videos in 2019. I finished some pages. I finished a bunch of stuff on my comic, but everything else, like even Patreon, I need to go in there and start updating every single day and be like, hey, look, here's what I did. So I actually did things. And so basically my thought about a topic wasn't necessarily coming back to freelancing, although that's part of it, I suppose. It's coming back to regaining that old art career, I should say. Which is totally different than when it was at its best.
100%.
So different now. And so it's almost like I need Big Illustration Party Time again, but I need not to be the host, a co-host. I need to be a listener, but a modern version, because maybe I did get old. I need to figure this shit out again, But anyway, freelancing being part of it, and I don't think unless you're, a James Jean or I can't even think of anybody's names right now, but unless you're somebody who's pretty damn popular, as artists, we need to grab our money from different sources. I think, if we're not working a 9 to 5. And even then, we probably have to, at least have a couple income streams. So so it's mostly just like that being the gist. Like how do we come, like rebuilding for anybody else maybe is building an art career in the modern times. Something like that. If that makes sense, or if I'm babbling, I don't know. Let me know.
No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, it is fascinating because like my wife,
Josh on the screen.
No. We'll do everyone. We'll do everyone. Go ahead.
So my wife Mai has been finally at the point where like Ben's going to school, and there's that window of time where he's at school, where like outside of like house stuff, like she has time to freelance. And so she's seeking clients, and she's gotten some clients, but like it's a whole weird world where a lot of freelance work is now found through those like freelance sites, not Fiverr, but like sites similar with, higher rates, but not really great pay. Like for like the pay scales are a lot different.
Like what? I'm going to take notes.
Do
you know what site she's going to?
I'll have her message it to you because I don't know actually off the top of my head.
Okay.
But there's one site that she's gotten some work on.
Okay.
But the problem is like it's still really underquoted, and it's hard because they also expect a lot of spec sketches, and it's kind of like it is a whole conundrum when you've had like a client base and there's a pause in like the time from when you have that client base to when you're trying to hit it again to like rebuild a base of clients for freelance. Because, especially like you and I, like when you're at it for so long, you get to a point where clients just come to you. And so it kind of becomes less of like you hunting for clients and more just like project managing, where you're like, okay, well, I can do that this week, but I can't do that, in a month from now. But the logistics of it, like you get kind of in the flow of that, having to hunt again when it's like it's almost like a complete, I guess it's like if you're going hunting and like the animal you're hunting just totally changed. We're like, what the hell am I doing here? I used to like do this thing and it would work. So it is interesting. It's like it's a fascinating topic, and it's also made me realize, like, just watching her go through it, trying to kind of coach her through it a little bit, because I did do freelance for so long, but at the end of the day, like in retrospect, like so much of getting clients is luck.
Mm-hmm.
That it's hard to pin down like a specific strategy. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that kind of hits home, but it is interesting. And I also relate a lot to what you're talking about, because as you know, I hit a pretty big burnout too, with art in general for a while. And so like, while I was doing art for my day job, it's like I just stopped altogether doing art for like 2 or 3 years. And it was really enlightening, because I felt like, I don't know, some part of my soul was missing or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Like lately, so maybe I should back up a little bit. I have taken on some freelance work lately. It's not coming in as fast as it used to. It's almost kind of like starter clients again, it feels like. And I'm annoyed by it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I find that the starter clients want the world of you for nothing, like giving you nothing in return. Basically, they want to give you nothing in return. And yet, I think back to like when I was working for Lamborghini, and they were like, "Here's a buttload of money. Do what you want." You know. It's like shit. I worked to that point only to go back to the beginning. Well, the good thing though is I've been there, so I know it's possible. You know, so I'm not all doom and gloom about it. It's just things are different now. You know, a lot of my bread and butter was in publishing, and that's kind of gone. You know, for the most part. And if so, the rates are dipping way down, and or tons of stuff is going out of business. You know, on the daily, like the weekly paper here, one of the weeklies anyway, which actually I have one of my odd jobs not doing art for, has gone from Mercury has gone from a thick weekly. So I should say formerly weekly. It's gone from a thick weekly to a pamphlet bi-weekly, and I've just seen it dwindle over. You know, I think it's I don't know. I don't know how long it is for the world. You know.
Yeah.
So, and even though I've done work for them, not in an art capacity, they know I'm an illustrator. However, it's cheaper to use photographs on the cover, so I see that a lot more than it used to be artwork on the cover, you know? So things are different. I got to figure it out, but I do know like the hustle is harder, which sucks because I'm older. But yeah, it's finding more like, you know, selling t-shirts like Scott's talking about, which I've done in the past.
Yeah.
And should probably just start doing again, you know, just for the heck of it.
I've got some ideas, Kevin. It's not necessarily freelance, but seeing that it sounds like you're kind of, in some ways you're sequestered, where you can't really, like you said, you can't go out, and you got to be at home or whatever. Some of the stuff, and it does take a while to build, and a lot of it I'm just starting off, so I can't really speak as an expert from it. Sure. But I've got one idea for you. I could mention it here. I could do it in private. I don't think it's anything anyone could steal, because it's kind of proprietary to you if it's something you want to do. So it's up to you if you want me to mention it now or.
You know, I would say go ahead and mention it now. Someone might get something out of it. And I think like most people, a lot of artists are afraid someone's going to steal their ideas, and people do. But
this is an idea that, like I said, I don't think anyone really could do it as successfully as you could. All right, so
male stripper, I've thought about it.
Yeah, totally.
Well, here's the thing, and I thought about this. So first of all, like obviously, you guys all have heard of Jake Parker, right? He came up with Inktober, and now for a while, he built up a lot of followers from that, so it's definitely good. But he wasn't really monetizing that, so to speak. But then he got a book deal, so he's working on this Inktober book deal. But I'm thinking, since you are the godfather of the 100 Days of Making Comics, I'm getting into this thing called KDP. It's Amazon, or it's Kindle Direct Publishing. It used to be CreateSpace.
I think I know what you're going to say, and I'm already working on it. If that's what if it's writing a book about it.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing: it doesn't have to. Have you heard of low content books or no content books?
No, I have not.
Okay, so here's the deal.
What is this?
And you could still write the book, but you could even put this out and it might not take you as long. So
low content books?
Low content and no content. Now it's saturated, but again, you have the audience, you can build this thing and you can sell it direct. So typically in that space, you've got to have tons and tons of books out there. And it's kind of a numbers game. But the thing is, everyone that I follow, and I watch tons of videos, and these are all marketers, and the work that they're putting out there is pretty god awful. I mean, it's just, they're not designers, and it's basically just throwing a bunch of crap at the wall and seeing if anything sticks. Mm-hmm. So I think my goal, my thought process of what I'm thinking is, hopefully I can go in there and put half as much stuff out there, and it's just going to look a lot better. So what I did, so I don't know if you've heard the thing that I have called the Comic Maker Toolkit.
Yeah.
Okay. So I designed this a while back, and I started to learn about this Amazon KDP, and I did get one person that came to me that was going to buy the toolkit for a Christmas present, and then they wrote me back and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was like a physical thing that I could actually give a kid." So I started looking into this, and there's a market, and this niche is totally oversaturated, but it's all garbage. So there's blank comic book pages. Like if you just go on Amazon, look up blank comic book pages, you'll see all these things, and it's got the titles in it's Bada Boom and Comic Sans, and it's basically by people that have never. That aren't familiar at all with comics. It's just an easy thing, because basically all they do is do some panels and just fill a book with just panel pages and then put it up there.
It's almost like a field notes or like
a
diary.
So that's kind of what low
just
content
like lined pages.
So low content would be like a no content would be a sketchbook. You just come up with a cool cover and you put it out there as a sketchbook. Low content is more like journals, like it's got lines, or you could do a grid pattern, or there's all different things you could do.
Or you could have like a daily planner that lasts about 100 days and maybe has spaces for things you
That's what I'm thinking. 100 Days of Making Comics planner. Like, so you could record your stuff, and do, you gotta take it a little bit further than just blank pages. You could do a blank page, because basically what I put up, like, so far I put up like, I think 5 books. One is blank comic pages, and my design looks way better and everything. Actually, Frank in the chat has purchased a couple, so I'm anxious to see what they look like when he gets them, because I haven't got any. But so I've got one with just blank comic book panels. I've got one with blank comic book panels and sound effects. One with blank comic book pages and caption boxes and word balloons. One with just thumbnail pages that you could lay out your thumbnails, and one that's just templates. Basically your templates. Now it has to be done in gray unless you go full color for blue, so it can't be blue line. But this is more of a sketchbook just for people, playing around, or you could do serious stuff with it, but it's also for kids and stuff. And then I want to do one with like perspective grids, and one with I don't know, just anything I can think of. And I'll probably do a smaller size for like manga, but it doesn't take as long, and also the other thing I did was I went a little further. Like in the beginning, I put some tips and things. So if you come up with a book, and basically in the beginning, tell the rule, you've got that illustration of you that you did, you could put that in there and say, tell everyone who you are and everything. Put the, it'll take you less time than writing a book. And if you want to go a little further and write a book, but I think just a planner and try to think of the different ways you can do that. And then, put it together and get it up there. And if you just put it up there and do nothing with it, chances are it probably won't sell. But because there's just here's the creator of the 100 Days of Making Comics. Go to the 100 Days of Making Comics page. Anyone that's taking that challenge, go to your YouTube channel, put up a thing talking about it, all that kind of stuff. I know you're not on Facebook anymore, but whatever channels you have, I think people would eat that up. I think people would. I don't know how many people have taken the challenge and who would actually do it, but it would definitely give you a good enough start, and then maybe people find it organically. I don't know. That's kind of my thinking, because I'm thinking of different journals I can do, and I'm like, man, Kevin should really do this. So, and if you want to know more about any specifics or anything, I'm just getting into it now. Just we can talk afterwards or whatever. But I think that's a natural way to go.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, TJ Dupree. Hold on, TJ Dupree says planners with stickers. I mean, the thing is, I can't really do stickers with the Kindle platform because it's all they print it and ship it. I thought about if there's a way to do it. Unless you could have the books printed through Kindle or Kindle Direct or whatever, and just buy them yourselves at cost, and then go to a second source and make stickers and put them in, and then sell it on your website. But this stuff is, and the margins aren't huge, so that's why it is kind of a numbers game. You can charge what you want, you can charge more. Because what you're putting out there doesn't have the kind of the competitors out there that, like I said, just Google, or just go on Amazon and search blank comic book pages, and you see how crappy everything is on there. So hopefully, yeah.
This gives me something to think about, because I do have an outline for a book about 100 Days of Making Comics, and it's like a making comics book like I've never seen. So I think
right.
there might be something to it.
But I think in the meantime,
I think if some other Yahoo wants to do 100 Days of Making Comics book, it's not going to be like this either.
Yeah. And like I said, you're the only one that can really do it.
Take it away as ownership. And I was like, come on.
That's your thing. You created it, so you really should. I really think you should be capitalizing on it.
Yeah, I should. And since I'm interested again, I don't know. That was the last year was the worst burnout I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I've never gone.
I'm glad you kind of came to your senses.
Yeah,
we all miss you, man. We love your content and everything. So this
summer I was like, you know what? I'm going to drive a delivery truck, and I'm going to be in a band, and I'm going to live in an RV. And I'm just going to,
Well, you were talking about that even when you were doing art.
Yeah, I still kind of want to. But that's also contingent on me getting a mobile studio that I can do that in, because right now I'm still tethered to the desk, and but and my daughter's 7, so
yeah.
So I'm here, but yeah. But a book, actually, when we're done, I'll bounce some other things off you.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
but
because I think one of the advantages of what Scott's describing too is like the idea of like reusing assets that you already have to create content now.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, while that stuff is generating, you can create more content that's newer. But it's like it's kind of like the idea of like I don't know, like you record an album, but you also get pay for having that song in a TV show, like that kind of thing. Like you're getting multiple uses from one thing. It's smart.
Right. This is almost
I like it.
Yeah, this is almost, I think, a topic of its own. Maybe that's what the topic of the show is.
Could be. We kind of touched on what you were doing anyway with freelance. So
because probably anything we come up with in regards to returning to an art career or something could be its own show. But do you remember the Webcomics Weekly podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And they were basically writing the book.
I think or is that the one I listened to? Maybe not.
Well, two of them have another called Comics. I listen to it too. Comic.
Oh, let's see.
Now I gotta look on my phone. Sorry, everybody.
Webcomics Workshop Alliance is one that.
I don't know that one. Comic Lab. That's one I listen.
Oh yeah. That's the greatest show. It's like Car Talk for comics. I love it.
Totally. Yeah. Even people send in letters to or emails all the time that are like, "You're the click and clack of comics," but and they are. But anyway, when it was Webcomics Weekly, I guess that was like 10 years ago at this point almost. They basically wrote that book, their webcomics, how to make webcomics book, on the podcast.
Yeah.
Now I have 600 videos, and not all of them are like gold, but so I'm going to be doing YouTube again, getting back into it. I've got a planner over here. Speaking of planners,
yeah. I'm just going to throw this up here too because TJ she says it's addictive. So I mean, right there. I mean, anytime you hear people have an addiction, I mean, that's a market you want to hit. So
yeah, okay. So here's
so
something
Kevin makes
I want to say about that if I can.
Some monkey mod smokes. You know what I'm saying? Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I saw someone in there. I out of the corner of my eye, I kind of missed it there for a second. Something about Monkey Mod sketchbook, but
yeah,
which is a comic character for anybody who doesn't know. So I have a planner right here. I also last year and this is just me, not saying this is going to happen to you. Having 3 planners contributed to my burnout. And so, but what it also did was I kind of learned what works for me. And so I got one little planner and I put little tabs, the little sections in here. And then I'll show you. It starts like that. You can see that. That's at the top.
Here.
Hard make cool shit. And it says something dirty underneath it. But anyway, so having one planner, I look at it every day. This has helped a bunch, just one. But I mean, it took me. Monkey Mod doesn't vape, Corey. It's so angrily. But
did I miss that? I didn't see that.
It's a Monkey Mod vaping. It was Salazar Art Nation. You mentioned Monkey Mod sketchbooks.
There it goes.
Yeah. So anyway, I think the journal thing is a good idea, but I am kind of addicted to it. But working in 3 like last year, that was like, I think I got halfway through and I was like, no, too much. But I kind of forgot my point. Other than wait,
talking planners.
Oh yeah, I deconstructed my purchase planners and started creating my own using a disk system. Yeah, I think if you do it, because I guess I did it for a couple years. I had some planners, but and I just kind of figured out what worked and what didn't, and
yeah,
simple is best for me.
I agree with that, because to me, like any time that, like, for me, I need simplicity in the sense of lists, because I have an obsessive, I think we all do as artists, right? Have like this tendency to like obsess to problem solve, because it's part of why we design and why we do illustration. We like a challenge that we can solve. So like having 5 journals with like 5 different planners and 5, like mixing it up, it can discombobulate you, because like, once again, just knowing the personality of an artist, it's like, if you have a million different task lists, it's like you're literally overloading yourself with too many challenges.
Oh, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
So what I did was I went through and I made little sections, and then I wrote goals in the beginning of each section. And it, just for me, it's like finance, fitness, ideas, growth, and then random stuff at the end.
I love it.
For me, random stuff is, I've been trying to unload all my junk from back when I was married. It's amazing how fast it accumulates and how hard it is to get rid of stuff. Just time consuming with, Anyway, so that's kind of like, for an example of what's in the random section, is talking about getting down to a minimal amount of things, and but anyway, so I put goals in the beginning of each section. There's a YouTube section that's in the ideas subcategory, and so getting back to YouTube. So this is a very long way of explaining because I'm losing my mind. Is I have that I'm going to do at least 50 YouTube videos this year. Now I'm behind on my goal, on my schedule, not on my goal. But what I did is I have well over 50 ideas for YouTube videos. So, when it comes to making video, what am I going to do? And this goes back to the Webcomics Weekly thing and making a book and stuff like that. Is I'm going to be revisiting some of the old 100 Days of Making Comics videos and presenting them not in a vlog style, and kind of to help me write sections of the book, not the whole book, because I've got other plans for that. So I guess in the beginning when I said I've got nothing, then I'm not doing anything. I suppose I guess I am. But yeah. So what?
That seems like a really good start too, because like when you take a break, I think part of getting back to it is having a map, because it's like if you're kind of proceeding forward without a map, that can be really dangerous. You could end up like anywhere.
Right.
So having like a rough sketch or a rough idea of where you're heading on that, I think is really helpful. That's I don't know. I think that's cool that you're mapping out like different YouTube ideas too, because I think that's a good avenue. Like if, like for instance, if you implement something like what Scott was talking about, like with what did he call them? Like low content books,
Yeah,
or something
low
like that.
content, no content. Yeah,
that's
like,
also something that you can tie to your YouTube. So like there's other streams generating from YouTube rather than just the advertising revenue, which is kind of a cool plus of that too, right?
Yeah, because like I'm doing this series called Making Comics 101 right now, and I use pretty much the same branding for these books that I've done. So as soon as there's still some things I got to wait for, and there's some tricks I'll talk to you about, like getting it so you can have the look inside, so you can see some of the content inside and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you have to wait a little while for all that stuff to go into effect. But once that all happens and I get some of my books, I'll probably start showing those on my my YouTube channel as well. So I mean, I just think you could do the same thing, and think series. Don't think of just one. I mean, if there's other ways, you can break it down, because that's the whole thing is like a numbers thing. But I think even if somebody isn't really familiar with the 100 Days of Making Comics, if there's a way that you can cater to both the non-educated and the people that know, like it's a journal for it's a comic journal, So
I think that's the key though, is people might not have heard about me ever. Most people, or the 100 Days of Making Comics, sure. But if someone runs across it, I want to make sure that it's something that it's like, well, I bought this Making Comics thing that seems like one I've seen before, or another rehash of like a How to Make Comics the Marvel Way, or something like that. And there's those things are a dime a dozen. And so I think this will be different, regardless of whether you've heard 100 Days of Making Comics or not, or you heard of me or not. And kind of doing it the Webcomics Weekly way of sort of airing it in public before it becomes the book, and see what's right and what's wrong. It's almost like the rough, or the first draft, I suppose. So I don't know. Maybe that's another idea for rebuilding the art career, and reaching for just one of those potential pots.
Yeah, and I mean, I can say like one of the saving things that I was doing when I was like full freelance was Threadless, and that revenue doesn't exist anymore, like to the extent that it did at the time.
Yeah.
However, things done then still make me passive income today, even though I never promote it. I rarely ever send it out. I still get like a check that'll cover groceries, like once every month, like and it dips a lot, and it would probably boost if I promoted it more. But the point being, like, that was the strength of that wasn't the initial payout, it was the passive revenue and then the reprint money, right? And so it's like generating streams like that, because when you're rebuilding freelance, like, to me the key thing that floated me during freelance, and I know the game's changed, but I don't think these things have changed, is like you need passive revenue, you need clients. And so the client game hasn't changed too much, in the sense of like, that's just queries, man. That's just
the game hasn't changed. The clients have changed.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
So finding clients annoying. It's not like it's. I remember we did like a big illustration party time where we were talking about one of our first intros to like getting into working for publishing was just to like walk into a bookstore and just look at the books and find the editors and just send out like, who's the art director of this magazine? It's right there in the magazine, right? It's all in the bookstore. It's like your whole client list is in there. But that's changing a lot. Like, so right now it's really tough to kind of get any sort of, because you're right, the book industry is different. But like,
I used to call offices.
100%.
Yeah.
Although I kind of think that that game hasn't changed. Like, I think you could still cold call. I don't know if you need to, and I don't know how effective it would be.
Right.
I can also tell you, like, I really do believe in postcards. And this I wouldn't have said until I was an art director, because weirdly enough, like, postcards make an impact. The one thing I'll say they aren't going to make an impact on, and this has never changed, is like, people haven't done the research. So it's like, Kevin, you've worked for where I work. It's like, are we going to hire a photographer? Like, no.
Right. Yeah.
But I get photography queries all the time, like postcards from photographers. And it's like, I'm not, like, that was a waste of 25 cents or whatever. Right.
Right.
But I do think, like, I do think that chase is very much the same. I think the odds are harder. And I think the research involved, because you and I are not like as clued in. And I don't think that's a negative. It's just like, it's a rapidly changing industry, and it could change next week. It just
totally
happened.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But the passive income, at least, like, if you generate that at the same time as the queries, which I have no doubt if you're getting back into freelance, you're doing, it's like, that also gives you a base for, like, when the client dries out, like, that check comes in for like $200 or $500, whatever it is, that's going to float you through to like the next client, you know?
Yeah. And so, you know, all the basics that we talked about when we did the big illustration party time podcast and stuff like that, all the basics, like you said, that's there. Even when we were doing the podcast, remember, even during the course of the podcast, it was like send postcards, and then there for a minute there, it was trendy not to. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was like, no one's sending postcards anymore. Send postcards, you know that. So, you know, I just kind of wonder if that was like a weird internet thing at the time, because I've never heard from any art director don't send postcards. So,
yeah, I was really surprised by that, because like, once I was behind that desk, I'm like, I get, like, my nightmare.
Do you remember what we did back then?
Yeah.
We sent postcards still. Me and you sent postcards, you know.
Hell yeah.
And got work. The thing that's different though than back then, and even before we did that podcast, is that the money was bigger and better. It seemed like in illustration.
Yeah,
there was always that neat, like the side money was because you were not completely artistically fulfilled with clients, and it would be nice to make some side money here and there.
Yeah, now it wasn't your reliance.
Now it's imperative. what saved my ass just recently was I got 2 royalty checks, one for an album that one of my bands did 25 years ago, and then my first royalty check for music from some music I did for a TV show at the beginning of 2019. And so somehow music is now one of my side hustles. I got a band. Well, I got a band too, but
That's awesome.
So the way I'm seeing it is like I got clients, I got personal side hustle, music's down here somewhere but for some reason it's always a constant money, but it's not much, you know. So it's and kind of in this book too, it's I'm kind of laying out like what makes the most money, but what else I need to keep doing to not only pay rent but feel fulfilled as an artist.
Yeah.
Because I obviously didn't choose to be an artist so that I could just be a money grubber.
Agreed.
Because that doesn't really work.
Well, that's why I think you're totally suited for the stuff that I'm doing, because it sounds like you've got some income, you've got some day jobs, and I assume you have some free time, because a lot of people, that's what they do, because this isn't something that's just going to happen.
I don't know about that. But.
Okay. Well, maybe not.
Yeah.
But it does take some. But I know most of the people that start off doing this have full-time jobs and everything, and they, but it just does take time to build, and it's something you've got to invest in. And again, I haven't got anywhere with at least with that part. Now I have made some progress with like the digital products, like my comic book toolkit, I've got some fonts and some other things. Those are doing, at least the toolkit's doing really well. The other ones are kind of hit and miss, but they're starting to, because now that toolkit has had success, like it's been put in some bundles. I've had people saying, well, what else do you have? So, and I'm, Josh's wife, Maya, has just translated I don't know if I'm supposed to mention this. I think I can. Translated the toolkit into Japanese. So we're going to be putting that, hopefully soon on the Japanese site. But yeah, I mean, that stuff takes a long time to build, to do it right, because you have to have the right images and all this stuff. So that was a big time investment. Yeah. But with like the merch and the KDP, the reason why all these marketers are into it, because it's quick. Now it's really saturated, but again, I think if you are an artist and if you can just make better work, hopefully the cream will rise to the top. And now because of that, I'm going back into, like right now, I'm going back into Redbubble. I've had a Redbubble account forever that hasn't really done anything, but now I'm learning about keywords and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of those merch people are now going into Redbubble. So even though when you go to Redbubble's homepage, it's still very artist centric. I mean, it's nicely designed, prints and things like that. But if you start doing individual searches, you're going to find a lot of garbage, because, they're coming in like a locust, so.
Yeah, for sure.
I also will throw out like some other things, which is like one is so a friend of mine from school is full-time freelancer, freelance for me for a little bit, like freelances, does a lot of storyboard work and stuff. But it's always been just kind of like pulling whatever kind of comes, and got repped through Famous Frames, and is now just getting crap tons of work, because like Famous Frames is like one of the bigger storyboard reps around, and they are getting work all the time. And so it's weird, because it's like the second he got signed with that rep, just floods of work and high paying work, which is kind of interesting. So the rep route is still a possibility. But then reps, it's weird, because I had a rep, and that rep doesn't exist anymore because they went out of business, And so
my former agent or rep, it was an agency that had reps in each, like 7 territories in the U.S. 7 territories in the world. My kid's book rep.
Yeah.
They got so big because they're worldwide that they stopped caring about the artists and caring more about the publishers. And so that was one of the things also that was a big kick in the pants toward the end of 2018.
Yeah.
Was suddenly what they were giving me was, it was like, hey, we want you to work on this book. It's going to take you 6 months. We'll give you $5,000. and it's pretty much you're gonna have to work on it like 40 hours a week at least. I was like, well,
jeez.
I mean, they didn't say that part. That's me like going, wait a minute. No. This book would have been a few years ago. This would have been like, 25,000. Now it's 5. And then they start talking about wanting me to do spec work for big publishers that I had already worked for. And I was like, no, I've done books with them. I'm not doing spec work. You're my agent. Get me work.
Oh, man.
Don't give me spec work. Oh, no. But then they ended up getting so many artists during the course of while I was there that it was kind of like, well, someone else will do it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we're done here. We're done. Time for a new agent. Which brings me to another thing. Is I had gotten into kids' books, and it's funny. I saw up here. It was said like, not safe for work sells really well. if I can get into it. It's funny. I was into kids' books and realized I hate doing kids' books.
Yeah.
But anyway, I changed to this like really naive kind of art style, and I like to look at it. It's like kind of like that cartoon modern stuff. Really like to look at it. I like to add elements of it in design, but I don't like to do child versions of it at all.
Yeah, dude.
And so working for kids' books, and then working on that graphic novel that took a year and a half, where I couldn't have any other clients and stuff like that. Those things are also contributed to where I am now. But so that's part of Timothy Phillips. That's who said it. He said, "The do not safe for work." I can get to that in a second. I don't want to do porn. Really.
Like
maybe
art or no, I'm just kidding.
Under a pseudonym, maybe I would do like that kind of stuff.
Wait, what was the old one?
Yeah, but Artie Slammo was like 1950s Playboy, where you didn't see anything, but it was like always implied.
Yeah, Artie Slammo was like a pervy pinup artist.
Yeah, he was, but like you didn't see like anything, any nude bits. It would be just ever so covered,
Yeah.
But and there was no like sex.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, if it doesn't have to be porn, I'm in. But it's not that I'm a prude, because my mouth is way filthier than everyone's going to hear on this show. But anyway, so that's also part of it. Is returning to a career is really doing is really finding what I like to do again. And and then there's so many people, they'll tell you that there's certain trends, that are going to sell better and blah blah blah. Well, I like old stuff.
Yeah,
I like old pulp covers, old detective novels from the 50s. And so I mean, Timothy Phillips, he's talking about Coop here, who aware of for a very long time. And I even have a Church of Satan poster that he did. So yeah, I could do stuff like that. I wouldn't mind doing that stuff so much, but I also want to get more into more painterly things, i.e. the pulp type covers, and to mix that stuff with that, mid-century design. And I don't care if mid-century design, if it got trendy and the trend is gone, I don't care.
Yeah.
So that might be a problem too.
Yeah, but I don't know, because like I do think, I mean, like I was really into like pulp covers and stuff, and also really into T-shirts. And at the time, there weren't a lot of people doing like T-shirt designs that were like super pulp cover-ish. And it became a whole thing for a while that like sustained me for a while. And it was just literally because I was like, I like comics, I like t-shirts. There should be comics on t-shirts. And
It's funny. Yeah.
you know, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Like Robert McGinnis.
Uh-huh.
You know who that guy is?
Hmm?
He's a painter. Does a lot of covers for like the mid like 50s, 60s detective pulps and westerns and stuff like that. Lots of Timothy Phillips here is like about a sexy mod girls holding guns and stuff like that. You know, with whoever the hard-boiled detective is might have like a headshot, kind of like an old Marvel comic, somewhere on the book or something. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff I like. And I think I got wrapped up in something for a little too long, and that was kind of a backfire. I think there's a lesson there in that, in a way, I saw that I could do something in a market that was going to give me a bunch of money at the time. And so I was chasing the money. And so whenever you chase the money, you fail.
Yeah.
You either get burnt out or you fail, or both. And that's what I did. So,
I relate to that.
Oh, Glenn Barr. I'm a big fan of Glenn Barr too, Timothy.
I relate to that a lot because, like, for example, like, I got like a day job where I got a day job, but it's like, and it kind of sustains us, and it does pretty well, and we're living okay. We're not living like wealthy, but we're living pretty well. But for like the first 3 years of that job, I didn't do any like personal art, and it literally got to a point where I felt like my soul was gone. And it was because like the whole purpose of me taking that job in the first place wasn't because I had a kid. It wasn't because I had a wife. It was because I was sick and tired of doing art for people and not doing my comics. And I was like, when I was freelance, I never had time to do my comics. And it was just a nightmare because I just couldn't actually get the time to make the creative vision stuff that's not money oriented.
Yeah.
So, like one of the things that sustains me at like that job is doing this stuff, but I'm chasing something right now that I have absolutely no idea will do well, and I kind of don't care. Like I want it to be good, and that keeps me fresh in a way because I don't feel like this need to kind of get that art out because it is getting out. And it's getting out at like a snail's pace, but it's still a faster pace than it ever went before. So like to me, I think you kind of have to do that to be sane. Like as an artist, like you have to kind of be pursuing the thing you want to do. The other thing is, and Kevin, we used to say this on BIPT, but I think this does remain true. Like whenever you just do the work, the paid work, you never get the sexy work because the sexy work is the work you do on your own and you put on your site, and then that generates sexy work.
And that generates,
So like even what you're describing, like these pulpy covers and stuff, it's like I would almost like say, you've got side hustles going on that may not even be art related, but like the next window of time to work on art, maybe just work on a print, like a poster print.
Well, yeah. So
that's,
yeah, totally.
And build up that portfolio of that stuff that you're describing. Cause like that portrait you did, the self-portrait for the YouTube video, and you can cross-platform it and make it YouTube as well, content, right?
Yeah,
but sure. It's like, that's a brilliant, like you're a good digital painter, you're a good traditional painter. And so it's like, and you have a fan base on YouTube and, online. So it's like, even if it's not like the biggest, you're not, Robert Plant or anything, but it's like, but the point is, you know what I mean? Like the point is you have like enough people to like buy some prints and make a little bit of money on it. And so start building that up, and that becomes a portfolio. And then weirdly enough, as long as you're following that thing and you really believe it, it'll generate income. Yeah. It's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, that's something that hasn't changed ever.
Yeah.
It's like, that graphic novel I got was all based on a mini comic. I got hired because they found a mini comic that I made,
Which is funny because you'd think it would be like the Lamborghini thing or whatever,
no,
you know what I mean? But it's like, no, that comic. Never is the one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's doing stuff like that. So my plan for right now, and hopefully this helps somebody, is don't quit the day job. I have 3 day jobs right now. Well, I mean, they're all like side hustles that I amount to. Yeah. They're like 2 delivery jobs, and I help with a friend's house cleaning company sometimes. So I'm pretty busy not doing art these days. And then I got a band that's not doing too badly for how long we've been around. We're like getting played in Greece and Italy and like on podcasts and the radio over there.
Nice.
And a little bit here, but somehow death rock and goth and metal and punk are always going to be bigger in Europe these days, I think. But so that takes some time. Got the record coming out. So what I'm doing is the basics, like we were talking about, 10, 11, 12 years ago, whenever we were doing the podcast. Basics there, but and it's like working at where you work, Josh, where I worked with you.
Yeah.
It's like, even though that was an art job, it was different enough from what we do personally, because
100%.
It's a specific way and type, I guess, for not give too much info away.
Yeah.
So I don't break the NDA.
Got it.
But I remember when we like commute to or back from work specifically, we'd do the like grousing about, the dumb stuff of the job of the day or whatever, get that out, and then we'd just be like, all right. And I was, for everybody who doesn't know, we did Artcasters there.
Yeah,
when I was there.
For sure.
I was living in Josh's guest room for a while, and if I opened up the door, I could see him at his art table, and and we'd be like, yeah, let's, be all stoked, and then we'd be stoked on doing our own art. So that's kind of where I am now. It's like I can
what
go.
We're doing now. We'd have whiskey and drink art,
Yeah.
or drink whiskey and
we draw whiskey and drink art.
Exactly.
Oh, that's my new shirt.
Yeah, there you go. There's your first Amazon merch.
I'll share that with Josh. That's me and Josh collab.
All right.
I wanted to pull up this comment real quick. So I love the idea of using your art for multiple projects. Yes, I'm all about that. Mm-hmm. Coloring books are another idea for something you could sell using your art. Yeah, you can do. A lot of people are having success, even people who aren't artists. I don't know how they do it. Having success on KDP with coloring books. And I know your frustration with the children's book thing was they just didn't want to publish what you wanted to publish. But, I would think that there'd be a market, and there's probably some stuff out there, but I don't know how good it is. But there's like parents who have kids that are into like stuff like Cthulhu and stuff like that, or more Where the Wild Things Are, something along those lines that traditional publishers nowadays probably aren't going to publish. But you could probably do, something in the vein of like a Charles Addams type coloring book, or whatever it is that you think kids need. You could probably do coloring books like that. Again, there's a little more involved with that, or you maybe even have existing artwork that maybe you did for
this is fun.
Yeah.
This is kind of funny because when I came on today, I sort of expected we'd talk in general, but I feel like it's a therapy session for me in public.
Cool.
But yeah, so basically the plan, and I'm putting this out there for other people listening, is to keep working at the shitty delivery job, and build this back how I want it. Because even for years, like before my world crumbled and divorce and things were more stable and stuff like that, I never quite felt I never quite felt I knew exactly the direction, you know?
Yeah.
I felt very confident that I was an illustrator, very confident I could get work, but I was never quite satisfied because I never went gung-ho where I wanted to go. It sounds very selfish and you got to pay the bills and stuff, but that's what I'm saying. Someone's talked about roofing. Work at the roofers until you can start making a little dough, doing what you really want.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm gonna drive this, a van until I make the dough I want again, really want, and then and do the side hustles and stuff like that. And I think that's how it's going to build. And something to Scott, what you were saying earlier, and I don't know if I was just reading into it, is you sounded a little apologetic when you're like, well, if you do this Amazon stuff, it takes a while to build up, because it always sucks to say to somebody when you want money
it's a
now.
hustle.
You want money now.
Yeah.
But I think you're right in saying that, and I think people should know that is anytime you're building something, granted, there's people who are overnight successes, but that is so rare. Yeah. You have to know it's going to take forever, and a lot of people are like, oh God, I just don't have the time. I need it now. I got this bill due. Blah blah blah. But I think it's important to remember that you might have this bill due now, and you might have to go, work for the roofing company or deliver crap for the local paper or bag groceries or whatever. That'll pay your bills. It'll suck right now, but in a few 2 to 10 years or something like that.
Yeah, two. Hopefully 2. I think if you hustle, you could do it in 2.
2 is what I'm shooting for.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I think it's important for everyone to remember that it takes a while because no one wants to hear it, and so it seems like people avoid it.
I agree.
The amount of time that went into that comic maker toolkit, I mean, like I said, most people would say I was crazy, and maybe I was, but it's starting to pay off. So, and it's done. Now that it's done, it's done. And I'm not going to ever do anything that big again. That was kind of my flagship launch. So I'm going to do smaller products moving forward. But now that I've got that, and I've seen the success, and you got to put in time, and you got to figure it all out. You got to do all the research and everything. But
the thing that's cool about that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the thing that's cool about what you just did is, how many years can you have that out?
Yeah. It's like people keep running it in bundles, and it still sells.
Yeah, and so as it catches fire, even more, we're talking like we're about the same age.
Yeah, I'm a little older by a year, I think.
Yeah, something like that. We're very close.
Yeah.
But, fucking when we're in our senior years, you're going to be like, that thing I did that one time.
I hope that, because I got no retirement, so I gotta really ramp this stuff up, because I've got more days behind me that I got ahead of me. So,
Yeah. Corey wrote something here. If you avoid it, it still sucks 2 years later. If you do it, it only sucks for a couple of years. Yep. Bravo.
Yeah. So, one thing that this brings to mind is I constantly meet people who in the workforce, out of the workforce, they want it now. So it's new hire wants to be a senior designer now. A new illustrator wants all the sexy clients today. Mm-hmm. And it's I get it, because we all need money. But at the end of the day, once again, like Kevin was saying, you got to remember what you got into this for, because if you were seeking money, you would have gone into law, and potentially divorce law. There's a lot of money there.
Oh man.
Right?
2/3 of us know how much money you can make off that.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of different avenues you can go down to make money, but there's something about art that's beyond a money-making endeavor. And it also is a time endeavor. And just like anything, even the money-making stuff, it takes work. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time. And that's the part, like you were saying, nobody wants to hear. When you know, like when we were doing BIPT, like back in the day, it's like nobody likes to hear that the way I got into freelance was working, 40 plus hours in-house and then working 20 hours out of house. Like that's how it takes to build. And then that doesn't disappear because the industry shifts. And so you have to rebuild. Like every 5 years, you have to completely rebuild. You have to rebuild your site. You have to rebuild your assets. Like you might have to rebuild your knowledge of tools because the programs that you learned might have changed. Like it's a constant state of flux and a constant state of work.
Yeah.
And like similarly, like, to have value in the marketplace, you have to prove value in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. Like, whether it's in-house or out of house, if you bring money to the table, like with your art, then that's a monetary value. If you bring meaning to people, that's a beyond monetary value. I think that's what we're all aiming for, is something a little beyond just the money, although the money is helpful. But the point is, like, I think we're all kind of endeavoring to like try to make something that's beyond that. Like Kevin, what's weird is like it was like literally like a month after you stayed with me up here that I realized, like, outside of like the business thing that I do like for my job and then like the art that I do at home, I was like, I had this hole in my soul that like I've had for a long time because I was in bands all the time when I was younger. And it's like, for people who've done that, like music is like a love. Like if you can write music, like your own music, there's something about it that goes way beyond money. It's cathartic. And I realized like I was missing it. And so I started a band like locally. And that was mostly inspired by like some conversations you and I had, where I was just like, and then I was talking to a buddy of mine who plays guitar and was like, I missed that in my life. So I will make time for that in my life because it makes me more whole, even though it doesn't like necessarily generate money. It'll get free beer, which is awesome. But that's a new thing for me because when I was in bands before, it wasn't quite always that scenario.
Well, I mean, yeah, my situation with music is a little bit unique. Like my first record out was with
you were a rock star.
I think the singer from Operation Ivy when they were still
100%.
Yeah, and then and then like this last year, and if anybody is interested, it's a fantastic TV show. It's out on Blu-ray. It's called Deadly Class. If you buy it, I get a little bit of royalties for my soundtrack work. But you can make money. You can make music make money.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to you more about that when we have our album cut because I've never known that angle of music.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it in a few bands, not just one, not just two.
I'll be bugging you.
actually, now I've done it. Yeah, I've done it. Yeah,
I'll be bugging you. Not that I could do it.
Oh, you won't bug me I can talk about music forever.
Yeah, but I'll be bugging you a lot. Like I'll probably be calling you a lot because we're getting close to done with the album. So
yeah, anytime, man.
But regardless, it's like to me, like that's part of it too. Is like you got to make sure there's not gaps in your life, like creatively. Like if you have that music part of your soul, you have to have that fed, right? Mm-hmm. If you have like comics as part of your soul, you have to have that fed. If you have commercial art as part of your soul, that has to be fed. It all has to kind of like, I think diversifying it's good for like just self-health as well as like honestly for profit. Cause like when you chase stuff you hate, the best case scenario is you make a lot of, you might even make great money and just absolutely hate your life.
Yeah. And that affects everything,
100%.
Yeah. So, yeah. That being said, though, I hate my entire portfolio almost that's online right now because it's old. So I need to retool it. There's a couple things like that I do like on there, but most of it is still geared towards when I was doing kids books, and then there's like a Dwarves album cover I did, which is totally not kids books, but yeah, so
that I relate to too, because like I used to think that I'd enjoy doing kids illustration, and then I worked for an education company for a year and a half and was like, I hate drawing happy children all day.
It's not just that, but like I don't know if it's the time it is things are now, but the writing is so bad.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's just so bad.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, this is terrible. Yeah. So
and it's funny. We had a kind of a friend of mine, Eric Fan, on here, and he's one of the few dudes in kids books who got away with writing good kids books. Like, I don't know how they snuck under the rug somehow. Like, it's annoying that that's rare. It shouldn't be rare. It's like comics too, I think, have the same issue where there's some really great written comics even in mainstream like superhero stuff, but it's so rare, and it's absurd that it's that rare because I know so many people who are good writers. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, totally. Yeah. So anyway, it's just gonna be a matter of drawing some sexy punk chicks for Timothy there. You know what I like about his icon or his avatar, and seeing that big on the screen was that he's kind of like he's doing that kind of like side hand thing. So it looked like he's going, "Hey, Kevin."
Yeah, Tim's been on the show, so yeah.
I'm gonna keep pushing it, but do some sexy punk chicks, all right? All right, man. All right, Timothy. I'll do that. I am gonna do that. Anyway, yeah. So, I guess just to wrap up what you're saying, I think is like you just got to do good stuff that you like, and that's how you get good jobs, and that's how you get a good career. Da 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 da.
All right. We'll talk a little probably after the show, but why don't we go around and start wrapping things up? So, Josh.
Yeah, so you can find my work at joshuakimball.com or quarterlystories.com, and where you can read my story about faith and mental illness that I'm about to wrap up. And then hopefully at some point have it available for you guys to purchase, whether I kickstart it or publish it or whatever. So we'll figure that out as it goes. Maybe we'll talk after. I might spitball with you, Kevin, too, about it, because I have no idea at this point.
Yeah, I actually kind of changed some ideas about publishing comics that we can talk about, which could also be another.
I know. I'm feeling like
start a new stream over. I'm up all night. Let's just do another one. Anyway, yeah, we'll talk after.
All right, yeah. Kevin.
Yeah, so I'm Kevin Cross. I'm coming back to the public internet. KevinCross.net is my old website. As far as I know, it's still there. I didn't pay my bill for it, though.
I went there. I think it's up. I went there today.
Okay. I just saw it was like, yeah, if you don't pay this by January 15th, we're just going to erase it. And I was like, all right, I got to start over anyway. But I still own the domain, so that's fine. And then my band is what was it? blackfeathers.bandcamp.com.
Yeah, it's way down there. Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it's a punk rock gothy thing, and then my YouTube channel
that's in the description.
It's in the description. Okay, so that's in the description, and working on videos now. Actually worked on 2 videos today.
Awesome.
They'll be on Patreon sooner than
I'm a patron, so I get
than later. The videos probably won't be on YouTube until February, I'm guessing. And so I'm going to try to have 2 or 3 videos on Patreon in the next week and a half.
Nice.
All right.
So to catch up for not doing a video a week this month, because this is the big year. It's my big comeback, guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to start wearing leather. I'm going to be like Elvis in 68
years. All right.
Late 70s Elvis is something that it has aged like a good whiskey for me, where it's like at first I was like, nah, I'm not really into this. And the older I get, I'm like, yeah, I really like Suspicious Minds. That's some badass shit.
It's not a bad song.
It's a great
Coming
song.
from an old punker. It's not a bad song.
In a crazy ass rhinestone suit, just high out of his mind. Good for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Sorry. Scott, where can we find your stuff, dude?
Well, the main thing right now is the T-shirts. So the links that I put in the chat before in the description didn't work, but I've changed those, so they should be working now. I'll put one more link. Again, and they're priced low. That affiliate link didn't work, so I don't care about that though. So I just want to get tier out of this. So again, they're priced to sell. They're $13.99. If you got Amazon, it's free shipping. Right now, there's the Wake and Make, the Haters Hate, Creators Create, the Nerd Alert, and the Reach for the Stars one. You can kind of see what some of those look like probably under the bar, but don't click on those because they're like 20-something bucks plus shipping. Get them for $13.99 while they last, and I can get out of this tier and everything. So yeah, that's all I got to promote for me. And the show that we do, the Artcasters, we do this every week. We rotate back and forth between Josh's channel and my channel, and that can be a little confusing because usually we do it Thursday. Some days we can do it a different day, just depending. But if you want to know exactly when we're going to be going live, who our guest is, all that kind of stuff, join our mailing list, and we don't spam you or anything. We just usually about 30 minutes ahead of time, I'll send out a link and let people know about it. So definitely check that out, and definitely good to have Kevin back on. And
Scott,
yeah.
I have one more sales pitch for people out there. Okay, you guys want to imagine that Scott just went to prison, right? And he needs to earn his 2 tiers.
That's actually where Annette's got.
I've never even heard that. Is that?
He needs those 2 tattoos.
Got it.
So like, if you guys buy, like, how many shirts do you need for your first tier?
I need 10, and I can buy my own. Like if it comes down to it, I can buy myself
Will you
out.
promise on air that, like, let's say you make 10, you're gonna, like, with ink, just draw like one of those little prison tiers for next Artcast? Come on, guys.
Yeah, if I'll do that if I sell 10 tiers between this week, or 10 shirts between now.
That makes
not by my own purchasing them.
Okay,
but other
I'm going to join in this endeavor to get Scott to have a prison tier. You guys, let's get him to 2 tiers. That's all I'm saying. Corey, you're in on this? I hope so. If you're in the chats, please join
Corey,
in.
I kind of called Corey out earlier, but he said his power went off. So I was just reminding you, Corey, that I have the
No, don't guilt him. Just we're gonna get Scott to drop prison tiers on himself. Come on, you guys can do this. Let's make it happen.
Corey,
it's impossible.
Corey, whether I don't the phrase that pays that he came up with tonight, that was good. Give him a break for a second. Wait until tomorrow. Then give him shit. Buy a shirt. I don't know.
All right, guys. We will see everyone next week. It should be on Josh's channel. Or if you guys want, you can see probably Corey and Josh and I on 48-hour Art Check on, I don't know whose channel that is. You guys need to get a mail for that. Yeah. All right, guys. Take it easy, everyone. And thanks to everyone in the chat, too. We had a great chat going. So we will see everyone next week.
Yeah, it was nice to see some familiar faces and avatars and names.
We're going to end the broadcast.